So we have gone through the restoration department on the belly work and the finish work, and so now today we're going to talk about the action area and what happens on this side of the restoration center. So the first step would be action prep, and so we're going to head to the end of this hallway here and I'll show you the first steps in that process. So come on. As we go down, you'll see that we do have our work orders on the wall. That is all the job numbers that we have in progress. Those double doors, of course, open to the finish department, but the action department actually starts right here. And so this is where the keys and the actions go when the piano is first dismantled. They get the same job number, of course. We want to be able to put everything back together again. And so you're going to see Travis over here. He is doing what we call action prep. And so this is getting everything ready for regulation. When the piano is complete on the belly work side, it gets rolled through, if you remember, after the stringing happens to it. And then the action and the keys and the dampers and everything have to be ready to be installed in the piano again. So that's what he's doing here. We have to coordinate the two activities, so when the piano is getting the new soundboard and bridges and pin block and strings installed, we're getting the action and the keys ready at the same time. And we can do a few things at a time. With these older instruments, we do come across some really interesting scenarios and things that we have to fix, and there's a lot of problem solving. No two are alike, even of the same brand. And so this is where we begin getting everything cleaned and ready for installation of the action keys. So as you can see here, we have a piano that we're doing some repair. This is the key frame. It has just begun, so we have to replace felts still on this, but we're doing the wood repair before that happens. The first step would be, of course, to clean the keys, to replace felts, and to redo any repairs. Here is a picture that we are cleaning the keys, and we are, this is a special patent action Blüthner, so it's a little bit different than some of the keys we'll see, but we're going to replace the bushings here, which is what Travis is doing right now. We steam out the old, and he's getting those and all, cleaning that all up and getting ready for the new. And so that's what he's doing right now. This is the bushings here, and there's bushings there. And so that is a felt that gets replaced. We also replace the felt here at the end of the key. So you can see this back check needs to be replaced. That's falling apart. Sometimes we'll replace the key tops depending on how bad they are. If it's an ivory piano and they're too thin and they're not salvageable, we'll replace that with acrylic if we have to. Most often we can keep the ebony tops, but not always. Sometimes we have to replace those as well. That's a little different look. Most of the keys, I don't have one to show you, but this is a modern action, so that's a little bit different. There's a few more felts on there and a little different look that we have to do to get that ready. But this is the action stack here, and so most often we replace these parts. This is the hammer, shank, and flange, and the lippin. Most often that gets replaced, and so we're just going to take off the old, replace with new. Not always. Sometimes they are salvageable, and if that's the case, we'll keep them and do some reconditioning of that, but most often they do get replaced. And so that's what's happening here. We also do dampers on this side, so you can see, well, actually I don't have a damper set, but we'll replace felts, we'll clean the dampers, we will clean the wires and get everything all ready for installation. So that's that bay. It's where everything starts. What we do is we have a work order, and so everything that needs to be done is very specifically put on that work order so that Travis and the other technicians know exactly what to do. Here is a storage place. This is where the dampers go after the piano has been dismantled. Some of these, the felt has been taken off. it will be replaced. These will get cleaned up, and sometimes we have to refinish those as well. And then the action stacks get placed here. These will also get cleaned up, and there are some felts that need to be replaced on there. And so they're ready for the new parts. And so when the time comes, we'll get the new parts put on those as well. And then come on over here. We have a couple bays for regulation. And so this is where the pianos are actually finished. And so once they're finished, then we can put those actions and keys back in the piano and do the regulation process. I have a lot of videos on regulation, and so I'm not going to get into that here, but check back, and we'll also do some in the future on the process of regulation. It is quite extensive, and there's a lot to talk about there. We have a couple bays for that here, and we have a bay here. And so we have our technicians that are working on restored pianos, and they're working on pre-owned pianos, because this process in the action area sees all of the instruments that come through, unless it's only getting finished work. Action regulation happens on our pre-owned pianos up front. It happens on our restored pianos. It happens for customers who are getting player systems installed. It happens for customers who want their piano reconditioned. Maybe it doesn't need restoration. And so it's something that each piano, most, I would say maybe 95% of the instruments come through this area here. So once the piano has been gone over and regulated and tuned again and voiced, then it has to be assembled. And so we walked through the assembly department. I pointed that out to you. Here is, let's come up front, but here is a piano that we are in the process. So it needs its short lid, it needs its fall board, and its music desk. It does have the pedals on, and so that is going to happen here shortly. But you can really see it up front on a Steinway A that we have. And you can also hear Jim tuning a piano up here, but maybe you can hear over me. Here is one that is in the process, the final stages of restoration. So you can take a look. It's had everything. It's gotten a rebronze plate. It has a new soundboard, new bridge, cap, new strings, new pins and pin block. It's beautiful. It's like new again. This is an 1895, I want to say, Steinway A, which is a 6.2. Beautiful rosewood case. It's got the special style leg. I think some people call that flower pot, if I'm not mistaken. But it's not completely assembled. It needs to have the short lid. It needs to have the music desk, and it needs to have the fall board and the key slip put on it. And so those components, there's hinges, there's felt, there's different pieces that have to be installed. It also gets the key lock here. And so those are the final pieces of the puzzle, so to speak, when you're doing a piano restoration. And then, of course, the last people to touch it would be the finish techs. And they're going to go over and do the final rub out. I think they're mostly done. They're just waiting for it to be buttoned up to do a final inspection. And if there's any repairs, they go ahead and do that kind of simultaneous with assembly. And then we do a final tuning, check it over, even out the voicing if need be, and play it. We want to play it. We fall in love with these instruments before they go out, so we really enjoy hearing the final product before it goes home. So this is an area that isn't trafficked by most of the public, but it's an area that our movers mostly come into. This is Jim's area where the soundboards are made, but oftentimes we will set a piano down for evaluation. And so we've got a couple pianos here that we've evaluated, and so we are they're kind of in limbo, so we start doing the reconditioning work. Here's one that's going to go to the showroom floor. The other one's a customer piano that needs some repair. So this department, we have a lot of moving equipment. Our blankets and our covers and our dollies and our boards are kept in this area. We've got our dock here, which we load and unload pianos to and from. And then we've got a lot of pianos here. So when people call in, and they often call in and they want to know what to do with their piano, they're moving, they're downsizing. We store pianos for people, and so a lot of storage is here. We also do consignment. Lately, I'm having to tell people we're just so full, and you'll see that we have a lot of pianos. This is an area where we have our restorations. So along this wall, we've got all the restorations that we have not started yet, but they're in the queue. So when we're ready, we can pull it out of the lineup and we can get started on it. We can only do so many at a time. You know, we're not a huge facility, and the quality of work we do is top notch, and so our technicians are not rushing through a job. They're making sure it's done correctly. So those get pulled out as we get into maybe one is gone and out of a department, moved on to the next so they can start one. So this is where they wait. On this side, we have all our concert grands that can be restored. They're ones that we own. And so if a customer comes and says, I want, you know, a Steinway concert grand from this era, this style of leg, or this veneer, we might have it. And so we can pull from our storehouse here of the concert grands, and we can get that in the line, and the customer can have the piano that they are specifically looking for. So that's kind of nice. We have pianos here. Some are storage, short-term storage, so they're put here because they can be easily pulled back out and delivered to their owner. And then, like I said, we've got lots of restorations that are in the queue. Back here is my overflow showroom, which I believe I've done some posts on. These pianos are to be sold on our showroom, so they're going to be reconditioned. All of our pre-owned pianos get reconditioned unless we sell them as is, which we have done once in a while, but most of them will get reconditioned with a 2-year mechanical warranty on them. So these are here. I do bring people back here who are looking for pianos. They are also all posted on my website. So you can go to the readerpianos.com website and you can see all these pianos with lots of pictures and lots of descriptions. If you find one here that is not already reconditioned, I can pull it out and put it ahead of the other ones and get that done for you within a couple weeks. So you can come here and look at it and play it if you want. Just know that we haven't gone through them yet. So that's what's happening in this area. We also have another dock back here. So we do get large deliveries here. We do have one that just came in. We've got to uncrate this and put it up front. It's a new piano, a new upright. And we do have some more long-term storage back here. Some of these are storage and some of them aren't. But this is also another place. And when you store a piano here, it's kept out of the way. This is a climate-controlled building. We make sure that the temperature and humidity levels are all appropriate for a piano. So now we're going to go upstairs, and I have done a post about what's upstairs, but we'll just do the whole tour today. I don't normally take people all the way up the stairs unless they're looking for a specific instrument. We have a forklift that we use to put pianos up here, but we don't put concert grands up here because they're too heavy for it. And they're just too big. So all those are downstairs, but up here would be any other size. This is a third addition to the building. When we added a third addition, we put this in, and that's probably been about 10 years now since we did that. So come on back.
Spooky.
Gotta turn the lights on. There they go. So we have long-term storage up here. These are pianos where people know that they aren't going to take them anytime soon. So those are there, but most everything are owned by Reader Pianos. We have a large variety of instruments, talking variety because of the year, the age, because of the style of the instrument. And we have a few historical instruments as well. A lot of Steinways, Mason and Hamlin, a few Baldwins, some Kanabis, Blutners, and some other brands that maybe we'll feature in another time. But we have all these are brands here. We do have this all organized. I've got a list of exactly what I have up here. And so if I do need to go through and find something, it's not as hard as it looks. I've got some uprights here. Check this one out. It has 5 pedals. I have no idea what they do. I do have some pianos up here that have been started, but because we have a lot of customer pianos, we haven't finished them. And so that's projects to come. And then we have, at times, we'll recondition stage dollies. And so if you want a stage dolly, we might be able to have a used or a reconditioned one for you. And then we have a lot of our soundboard wood from Switzerland. This is the first stop. When we get it in, we bring it up here. And then when we have our dry room that needs to be replenished, then we'll take it down to the dry room and put it in there. So we do have this labeled by the year that we received it and what exactly it is. And this is Jim's domain. He knows exactly what's up here and he knows exactly what he wants to do with it. So this is his area of expertise. And then as you come over here, I have a lot of extras. We'll pull parts off pianos that just aren't worth restoring or aren't in great condition, but we might want to use the parts that we can't get. And so we've got that. We've got a bunch of benches. I have come up here for a customer to find a bench of a certain height or a certain color. Chances are we've got something that will work for you. If you are in a business for as long as Jim Reeder, you have stuff. And he likes to, you just never know what you'll need. And so that's the extent of the upstairs, and we have a second stairway that will go down here. And this goes directly into the finish department. Now this area is not an area that is used specifically for anything except for curing. So these pianos have had finish on them and they're kind of in limbo. I know I say that a lot, but because we have a lot of jobs that are coming through in various stages, if the job is something that is not a high priority or it needs to cure for a little bit of time being here in the finish department, we'll put it over here. So we've got various pianos that have had the finish on them or different stages of refinishing work, and they're here with the carts with all their parts on it. Here's one that is in progress. We have recently removed the finish, so it's sitting and drying out. It's probably pretty dry by now and they'll start doing the work on it. This is an old Kanabi, so it's a very special, it's gonna be very beautiful. It's a rosewood. But this is the next project that they're gonna probably get started on soon. So this is kind of a waiting area. Again, lots of parts are stored here. You'd be surprised how often we have to find a part and we have it because of all the accumulation over the years. And then here is our finished department. And so I think we've already gone through this, but that's a full circle of Reeder Pianos restoration facility.